What's up guys and girls, welcome back to another video. Today we're keeping it super simple. We're going to be ranking in a tier list every single booster box and like their best ability. So sit back, relax, if you're ready for that, we'll hop right in. So obviously up first here we have Scarlet Violet base, and this is a booster box that's currently one of the cheapest ones like in the entire market. It's like 200 to 220 bucks. Honestly not super expensive, and honestly not something that I'd personally be putting a whole lot of money into. And obviously if you like spread your investments and your money out, you know, it's not a bad pickup. In fact, I don't even think it'll be doing bad in the shorter term in the next year or so, because it is rotating out here in 2026. So that's going to be a key theme for the next couple of months. They're all rotating out in 2026. So overall, Scarlet Violet isn't the worst one. I do think there's better places to be putting your money than Scarlet Violet though. I mean, if you look at it, it's got a couple of cool cards, like obviously the Gardevoir is pretty cool. The Fido's, I think, pretty cool. I think that one's in that. It might be Paldea Evolved. So actually, I think Fido's Paldea Evolved. But the Gardevoir is pretty cool. It's kind of, you know, the whole line is in there. It's kind of it for Scarlet Violet base. Obviously, you have Miraidon and Koraidon SIRs. I think those are pretty neat too. But overall, not a ton of stuff that people are going to be wanting to chase that will, you know, end up having the booster box be opened a ton. So, you know, overall for $220, similar price points, you can get something, you know, for $20 more, you can get something a little bit more expensive that I'll talk about later. There's just other options, and I don't think Scarlet Violet base is the absolute best use of your funds if that's, you know, what you're putting into. So I would probably put a Scarlet Violet base probably in the C tier, just on the fact that it is rotating out, so it might see a little bit of price movement in the next year or so, but I think longer term, it's not going to be anything crazy. People aren't going to be wanting to pony up a bunch of money for Scarlet Violet base to open it, so for that reason, put it in the C tier. Next up, we do have Paldea Evolved. Now this booster box has been kind of the forefront of the entire era for the most part. It's been like one that a lot of people have hyped up. And overall, it's a pretty good set. I think it's decent. It's got some decent depth to it. There's a lot of illustrations in there. Not as much special illustration rares that people want, but a lot of the illustration rares, obviously the Magikarp comes to mind. Like, these are cards that people are wanting to get and grade and do all sorts of stuff like that. And obviously the price roller coaster for this box has gone, you know, up and down. It was like, you know, $100 box, went to like $500. Now it's sitting at about 400. I think it's actually under 400. I think it's like 390-ish. So where do I think Paldea Evolved will go in the future? Short term, long term? Short term, I do think that Paldea Evolved will obviously have a little bit of boost because it is rotating out. Obviously, we know that for all of these four, so I'm going to kind of mention that for all of these. But it is rotating out, so, you know, it will see a boost because, you know, people will know there aren't going to be more reprints on it. I mean, there are already kind of not a whole lot of reprints being made for it, obviously. I think most people know that. But it will be guaranteed, basically, that, hey, they're not going to be seeing any more reprints for this card or for this set. We can go ahead and spend more money on it. Now, long term, I could see this booster box being, you know, in a couple of years being a $1,000 booster box. I do think that's very within the realm of possibility. But overall, the set isn't super deep. Obviously, the Magikarp's pretty cool, but I don't think people are like out of their way trying to just chase just the Magikarp. It's more of like a grading play for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people like it and they like that it's hard to grade. So, you know, there's a scarcity to it. But overall, I think it's a decent set. For $400, I think it's a better buy than when it was at $500, obviously. But, you know, I don't think it's like the craziest use of money. I do think it's a better set than like Scarlet Violet base, but I'd probably be putting it in the B tier. Next up is Obsidian Flames, and man, this is probably one of the weakest sets in all of Scarlet Violet. This is gonna sound crazy. It reminds me of Phantasmal Flames. Phantasmal Flames has the really cool Charizard. Obviously that Charizard is probably gonna be harder to hit than Obsidian Flames, but still they're very similar in sets that nobody really cares about the cards inside besides the Charizard. And I'm noticing that with Phantasmal Flames, but that's neither here nor there. Obsidian Flames itself, for the booster box, this is already a pretty expensive booster box. I think it's like in the 250 range, which is pretty expensive, like comparatively, obviously. Again, short and long term. Short term, it's gonna get a small bump because, you know, people are gonna start investing into it. But overall, I don't think it's anything that crazy. There's not really a card inside. Like the Charizard, if you grade it a 10, I think it's like a $400 card. So if you're trying to gamble and open it, you might make a small profit. But overall, I don't think it's anything crazy to write home about as a set. And like, it feels like more of a Darkness Ablaze type of set where it'll be an expensive booster box in that, you know, it's over MSRP, but I don't really see the booster box itself getting above, you know, $300, $400 anytime soon for the most part. Like, it just seems like a very below average set. Like, it's very much at the bottom of the barrel for Scarlet Violet for sure. I don't think most people would disagree with me. It's not a super enjoyable set, and definitely a lot of people didn't like it when it came out at the time. A lot of people don't like it now. The only reason it has any sort of hype is because obviously the booster box has a, you know, more expensive. But overall, it's not anything crazy. The Charizard's cool, but you know, it's kind of the only thing people are looking to get, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not super hard to pull. A lot of the pull rates for a lot of these cards in these first couple sets is a lot easier for SIRs. So for that reason, I just don't see this card being super sought after in the longer terms because it's easier to pull. Obviously, long term, yeah, it'll probably be a $200 card eventually. But like, I just don't see this set having a whole lot of like prestige to it. I don't think the booster box will be doing anything crazy in the long or mid-term, in the next 2 years. I don't see it, going crazy. Darkness Ablaze is still at like 350. I could see Obsidian Flames doing something similar to that, where it just kind of sits in that stagnation period where it's like $250 to $350, maybe $400 after it rotates out. We'll see what happens, obviously, but for that reason, I would put Obsidian Flames in the absolute bottom tier of like D tier for investing. All right, next up we have Paradox Rift, and again, just like all the previous three, this is one that's going to be short-term boosted by it rotating out. This set is going to be rotated out here in, I think it's April 26th, so it'll see a short-term boost. Obviously, a little bit of bias, but I think Paradox Rift is a pretty good, place to like store value, obviously, in that sort of way. Like it's a good set. Like overall, it is a very deep set. The Garchomp is really cool. The Groudon's really cool. The Swablu and the Altaria are really cool. Like there's some cool cards in this set that I think people, in the future will be like, oh, that's a pretty cool card. I remember that opening up in my childhood, especially because these were probably the few packs that kids were able to just get and sleeve boosters at Walmart, Target for the time being when they could. Now everything gets bought out, but Paradox Rift for a time being was definitely the only thing available. They might remember the set more fondly, and overall, just for the price point of set, I think it's at like $220, $230, maybe $250. I haven't double checked it or anything in the past day or so, but I think it's around that price point. If you were looking to put like money in, like compared to Obsidian Flames, Scarlet Violet Base, Paldea Evolved, out of these first four, Paradox Rift is a screaming buy to me. At least like I personally own one box. Disclaimer on that, but like it just seems like the best value currently in the market. Like it just is insanely good value. There's the Groudon, like I said, the other alt arts, or not alt arts, special illustration rare that I think people will want in the future, and just for the price of the box itself compared to the other boxes, Paradox Rift boxes might actually get opened because people want the cards inside. Obsidian Flames, like it's got the Charizard, maybe somebody wants to chase it. Groudon is obviously in the Paradox Rift, so people will want that. Swablu, like, whole thing with Paradox Rift. Magikarp and Paldea, but the boxes are almost double in price, so it's a little bit more expensive to open. $220, $250 for a Paradox Rift box. Honestly, not that crazy. I could definitely see somebody being like, yeah, that's reasonable. I kind of want to pick that up. Maybe open it with the kids. It's one of the cheaper booster boxes still left on the current market, so if it's going to get open, if a booster box is going to get opened up, I feel like Paradox Rift is just the most likely one to get opened because they don't want to open Base, they don't want to open Obsidian Flames. Journey Together, maybe I could see Journey Together maybe getting open, but Paradox Rift just seems like the most obvious answer and just seems like the best value currently in the market for booster boxes. Reasonable price, it's getting rotated out soon. Scarcity, there's not a ton of it out there. Like a lot of people haven't been hoarding Paradox Rift a lot compared to a lot of other things. So for that reasons, I think Paradox Rift probably gonna go in the A tier. And real quick, if you are enjoying the video, if you could like and subscribe, it'd help me out a ton. Let me know that you're enjoying the videos. I think like 95% of y'all aren't subscribed, so if you could go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me, help me out a ton and let me know that you enjoy the videos. But let's head back into it. All right, next up we have Temporal Forces, and honestly, Temporal Forces is like down there at like bottom tier sets for Scarlet Violet. Honestly, it might be my least favorite set to open. Not saying it's a bad set, but just like the Pokemon in it are very much Gen 9 Pokemon, which isn't a bad thing. People will eventually like the Gen 9 Pokemon. Personally, it's not my favorite, so not a whole lot going on. It's already kind of expensive. I think it's also like in that $250 range, but unlike Paradox Rift and some of the other ones, this one isn't rotating out for a whole nother year. It'll be 2027 before Paradox Rift rotates, or Temporal Forces rotates out. So I just don't think it has that same short-term upside to be able to place it higher up on the list compared to some other things. And I just don't think the cards inside are anything crazy. It's a lot of Gen 9 Pokemon like the Iron Crowns and Valiants and all that sort of stuff, which are cool cards. They're cool Pokemon and stuff like that, but I don't think they move the needle in any sort of like meaningful way. And overall, I just think it's kind of a below average set. I think it's down there with Obsidian Flames, so I'm gonna be putting it in the D tier. All right, next up we do have Twilight Masquerade, and overall I think this is a pretty cool set. Like all things considered, Twilight Masquerade is a great set. Came out at a good time. It was kind of honestly what kind of reinvigorated Pokemon from the depths of it was going through with like the early Scarlet Violet through Temporal Forces. And when it came out, it's like everyone's like they were ninja. Super cool. I think there's a lot of cool arts in Twilight Masquerade that, you know, people will want to pursue, and there was a change in pull rates from Paradox Rift and onward through Temporal Forces onward. There was a change in pull rates and they made it hard. Greninja is harder to pull. Perrin and some of the other trainer and stuff like that, those are unique cards. Those are pretty cool cards. I don't think we've seen trainers hit the highs that Twilight Masquerade has for trainers in any set for Scarlet Violet. And because of it, I think it's kind of unique in that sense that it very reminiscent of like Sun and Moon sets where the trainers were kind of the hit, which is, you know, kind of unique. Now, overall, I think the Greninja will obviously carry this set. I don't think anyone's debating that. The Greninja is absolutely gorgeous art-wise, and I think it's pretty hard to grade if I remember. It's a cool card. It's an expensive card. People are going to want to open the booster box to try and pull the Greninja. It's a chase card in the true chase fashion that, you know, it's hard to pull. It's difficult to grade. People are going to want it, and I think that makes perfect sense. Investing-wise, obviously, Twilight Masquerade is a bit on the more pricey end. I think it's like in the $300 range, maybe a little bit below that, maybe a little bit above that, but right around that range. And overall, I don't think it's a terrible buy. Like, if you're trying to put money into something, Twilight Masquerade is definitely not a bad set. I think it would definitely be like a top half of Scarlet Violet set-wise, especially booster box-wise. It would probably be in my top 5, I would say. But overall, it's a pretty good set. I think it does well. I think it's not, you know, a bad value for sure. You know, $300 for a decent booster box is not terrible or anything. If Twilight were to drop and it was in the $250 range, I think it would absolutely be even more of a screaming buy. But for right now, where it currently is at, last I checked, I think it's definitely a good buy. I don't think it's the absolute best value though. So for that reason, I'm going to be putting it with how they evolved in B. Alright, next up we do have Stellar Crown, and this is a booster box that a lot of people don't really talk about, especially as like an investment, although it's done phenomenally well. It is up to like almost $300, I think it's like $280-ish, almost in that 300 range, which is absolutely insane for the booster box. I think obviously there's a couple of reasons for that. One, a lot of people weren't investing into it, so it didn't have a whole lot of like holders. So basically people that were buying it to hold as investment. It didn't have a whole lot of people that believed in the set at first, so overall there wasn't a ton of supply printed for it just because it was kind of a whatever set. Like obviously the Squirtle's really cool, the Bulbasaur's really cool, the Terrapagos SAR's also pretty neat. Nothing in it though is absolutely crazy. It's just, you know, a good mid-tier set. It's not going to do anything crazy for that level. But because of that, the price point for the booster box makes it really hard to invest into because it's already so expensive. Mind you, it's up there with Twilight Masquerade and some of these other sets. I absolutely believe that it is, you know, should be plateauing where it is. I don't think it will keep going higher because there's not a lot of demand naturally that will cause the like supply to deflate. Basically, it's deflationary. People don't want to open Stellar Crown because it's not the craziest set to open. Like, if you're going to open Stellar Crown, you're going to get sleeve boosters or maybe, you know, booster bundle or something like that. You're not buying a booster box for Stellar Crown. There's not a chase in there that you're wanting such better odds of opening more packs to be able to pull. Nobody's Squirtle, like I said, that's a cool card, but I just don't think it's anything crazy. So for like the current price point it's in, I just can't recommend buying it for that level of price. There's better sets, like I've mentioned earlier, that are cheaper in price and I think give you more value. So for that reason, I'm honestly going to put it in D tier. Ah yes, we finally made it to Surging Sparks. One of my like favorite sets to like, I guess to pick up and invest into. Not one of my favorites to open, I'm going to be honest. I've never gotten lucky with Surging Sparks. But to invest into, oh my gosh, I don't think there's a better booster box currently out there value-wise that would beat out Surging Sparks. Surging Sparks is like $230, $240. Don't think it's like up there in price with like Temporal and like some of these other sets. Absolutely crazy to me. Obviously, I know it's had reprints. I know a lot of people are able to open packs of the ETBs because those got a huge reprint, and you know, a lot of people are not like super fond of it. They've kind of moved on. But people forget that Surging Sparks obviously has the Pikachu, which is the mascot of Pokemon, obviously. And it is one of the most expensive sets and true value for the entire set in all of Scarlet Violet. I think it's like number 4. I think it's Prismatic, Destined Rivals, Black Bolt, maybe White Flare, so maybe number 5, because obviously some of those specialty sets are more expensive. But it's like literally one of the most expensive sets to open and be able to like get value out of if you are going to gamble with it. And for it to be one of the cheapest sets to be able to buy currently on the market, oh my goodness, that is absolutely insane to me. I think it's probably the best value currently out there. If you can get one for, you know, there's probably people on Marketplace that are selling them for $210 cash. If you can get that, I personally would be buying it because people are going to the vending machines, they're getting one, they're paying $170 after 175 or so after sales tax and all that sort of stuff. And then they're going, okay, I'll make my $40. I'll post it on Facebook Marketplace for 210, and they'll make their quick flip. They'll make 40 bucks profit or whatever, and then you just get a free, not free obviously, but you get a great value in a great booster box. And like I said, Surging Sparks is like my favorite right now to be investing into, so it's going to be in the S tier. And we're finally making our way to the home stretch. We're to the last two sets, the two that released in this year, 2025. And these sets are a little unique because they mark the shift of when the next switch out will basically be. So obviously we have the first couple sets of Scarlet Violet that are going to be rotated out in 2026. We have the next set which are going to be released or rotate out in 2027. So these sets will not release or rotate out until 2028, which is quite a while away. That's like over 2.5 years, almost 3 years. They will be in circulation, could receive reprints, which makes them not as favorable to me personally for investing into. But Journey Together, I think, being the first one I'm going to talk about here, does have some serious upside if it does drop. I'm not talking about right now. I think right now I wouldn't personally touch Journey Together. It's a cool set. I think people will actually grow a lot to like it. But right now, it's just a little bit too overvalued. I think it's $250 or so for a booster box, which is pretty expensive. Like I said, Surging Sparks is probably cheaper than that, and it will rotate out in 2027. But Journey Together is just, longer term. I think if you can pick one up, if they ever go back to MSRP, or heaven forbid, if they're $100 a box, I would be picking up every Journey Together box I could get my hands on. It's a good set. I think people are underrating it because, it came out and wasn't super hyped like people thought it would be after Prismatic and in between Destined Rivals. But I do think it's a good set. I think people will learn to love it, and I think it will have a sustained fan base, especially since it's one of the few sets that, typically will stick on shelves a little bit more because it doesn't have as much resale value flipping and stuff like that. So overall, I don't think it's anything crazy right now, but obviously in the future, if you're able to pick it up for a really, really cheap price, I think it'll do pretty well. Even if you can pick it up for MSRP, I don't think it's a bad pickup. But for that reasons, I'm going to be putting it in C tier. And last, but certainly not least, we have Destined Rivals, the booster box that everyone is wanting to pick up. It's super hyped right now. It's like the thing that everyone's talking about in the investing community for Pokemon, obviously. It's a high commodity item right now. And I will say, people will probably not agree with me where it's being put, but you just have to hear me out. So obviously, Destined Rivals, new set. Just like I mentioned with Journey Together, it will be rotating out in 2028, which is quite a while away. If you think Pokemon will still be super hype for the next 2 or 3 years, and it won't go back down to below MSRP, I don't think Destined Rivals is a terrible buy, I guess, in that aspect. But we've already noticed that there is a slowdown of Pokemon product. Things aren't going up all the time. Things can go down. And I genuinely think 3 years for a booster box to be in rotation almost is a long time. I think anyone thinking that there won't be a reprint of Destined Rivals for booster boxes are insane. There will be a reprint. They've reprinted Surging Sparks, they reprinted Twilight, masquerade. They will eventually reprint it. Now, will it affect the price as much? Who knows? The thing that will affect the price the most isn't even the reprints, it's the demand. If a lot of people start getting burned in this market, like things aren't going up straight 24/7, I think prices will drop. I could see Destined Rivals dropping back down to $250 a box. Mind you, I didn't say MSRP, but I don't think it'll sustain at the $400-ish levels that it's currently at. That just seems a little bit insane to me for a previously, just released box that'll be in rotation for 3 years. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And Destined Rivals, I think, will easily drop back down to 250, 200 range if demand levels disappear, basically, if people aren't buying as much, which it seems like there aren't as many people buying right now as there were even during the summer when it was kind of a slower period. So I think a lot of people are kind of patiently waiting, seeing what happens, see what Pokemon maybe does. We've already seen that they've re-released boxes on Pokemon Center. I don't think those were reprints. I think that was just kind of a second wave because there wasn't a whole lot of it. But let me know what you guys think. Obviously, I'm going to be putting Destined Rivals in the B tier. I think it's below Twilight Masquerade and Paldea Evolved, very highly so, but I don't think it's quite a B tier set. I think it's better than the sets in there, C tier sets. So I'm going to be putting it in B, but let me know what you guys think. Let me know about the tier list. Let me know about anything else. Also, if you did enjoy the video, like I said earlier in the video, if you can like and subscribe, help me out a ton. Let me know that you enjoyed the video. I'll be making more videos like this in the future, hopefully. They do take a lot of effort and time to make. But also, if you check out the Discord, I do have a Discord linked below. If you want to join that and get, we can talk to people and meet you, I would greatly appreciate it. Like I said, appreciate all y'all. That's going to be it from me today. Let me know what you guys think. Take care.